How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to my channel. I'm Brad, the DCUGeek, and today I feel very fortunate that you've decided to spend some time with me. So together, let's look at the Storm Collectibles Injustice Gods Among Us Ares action figure. The box art for this was the same as all the rest of the figures in the series, only it showcased Ares. So as usual, it was fantastically designed all the way around with the adult collector in mind. And let me just tell you, this Ares figure is fantastic. So this Ares figure comes with 2 interchangeable heads as well as the one that comes on the body, and 3 sets of interchangeable hands. Currently, I have these 3 sets of hands right here displayed down below, and it was actually the closed fists that came on the body, and not the fists that have been designed for holding onto his gargantuan battle axe and his equally massive sword. Both of which look absolutely stunning. This sword is gargantuan. It looks like something out of a piece of Frazetta artwork. Look at that design right there on the front. Game accurate, fantastically crafted. I would not want to be cleaved with this massive, massive sword of destruction. If you're wondering about the scale of the sword, I mean, here it is standing next to a Motu scale body bucked Superman. This thing's huge. And of course, there is his battle axe. I'd imagine with this bad boy, he could cleave my car in half. This thing is huge, too. Fantastically designed and painted. I like this very much also. And here it is, next to a Mattel Motu scale body buck figure. The blade dwarfs the torso of Superman. Now let's look at the figure too, close up. But before I do that, let's change the hands back to the initial stock hands. There we go. That way we're back to square one. So as usual, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to do a slow toe to head looking at this figure, just so you have a chance to look at all of the details without me handling the figure and moving it around and, well, you're looking at it. What do you think? I personally think that even if you weren't somebody who was a fan of the Injustice Gods Among Us game franchise, and if you didn't even know who Ares was, I can imagine this very easily becoming a figure that if you just saw it on the store shelves and were into this kind of thing, this kind of medieval knight look, this kind of demonic evil horse rider look, this sort of battle axe wielding medieval demon knight look, this could be something you would want as well. Now, being that this is indeed a Storm Collectibles, you'll know already, for those of you who collect these, that the body is actually covered in rubber. The torso is covered in rubber, so his shoulder pauldrons are made out of softer rubber. His chest is rubber. The knee armor that he wears, that's all rubber as well. Same thing with the sash that goes around his waist and around his back. This is all made out of rubber. Even his elbow spikes, is that what you would call them? Whatever these are, they're made out of a softer, rubberish plastic too. Taking time to focus on the actual paint detail of the armor, you'll see that it kind of has a bit of a scuffed weather look to it, which is very cool. You'd expect that from Ares, the god of war. And look at these bizarre bits of toe armor. Again, these are game accurate, but it's just really neat to see these in 3D form. And just looking at Ares' helmet, this is awesome. This is very cool, and it's a nice touch that the helmet is actually removable. It's not just a single stationary head sculpt. And that makes sense, because if they're going to be switching the head sculpts, it's much easier to make a bunch of heads that go inside the helmet rather than, you know, make a whole bunch more helmets. Doing it that way, you would have actually ended up missing a lot of the detail for these heads. Teeth gritted, teeth opened. They really look the same to me from the nose up. It's just the mouths to me that look very different. And then, of course, we have Ares' initial head sculpt, which has no gritted teeth, doesn't look angry, he just looks serious. He looks like he means business, and that's enough for me. If I ended up in the ring with Ares and I had to fight him, I would probably just pee everywhere. All over myself, all over Ares. It would just be lots and lots of pee. And then the final thing to mention about this figure's appearance is the fact that it comes with a cloth goods cape, which seems to me like it's Storm Collectibles' first foray into the cloth goods cape sort of thing, at least with their DC figures. And I gotta tell you, this one, it kind of stinks. You weren't expecting that, were you? Neither was I. I thought it was going to be a lot better. I mean, it could be worse. It's got a big, long, plunging neckline here. You know, you might look at it and go, well, that's a hood. Well, that's a weird looking hood if that's what it's supposed to be. I mean, I'm sure you could make it very hoodly over the helmet, but I really believe it's just supposed to hang down like that. I mean, he doesn't wear it as a hood in the game, so I'm assuming it's not a hood. And I don't like, even though I like the texture, I will say that, I like the material it's made of, but even though I like that, I don't like how the wire system has been made. It goes all the way down the side, all the way around the bottom, and all the way up the side again. And that wouldn't be so much of a problem, but it's the fact that this cape really is thick and unruly and feels more like a duvet than anything else. It doesn't feel like a cape, it feels like a quilt cover, like I need to stuff a quilt in here and then go to sleep under his cape. So honestly, if I'm going to change anything about this figure, it will be this big, huge, unruly cape into something that's more manageable. Now, as for his articulation, let's find out together. Because he's wearing this great big rubber body covering set of armor, we know that this will get in the way. Absolutely. Time and time again, whenever you have a figure that's got this kind of a cover that fits over top of their articulation, it's going to impede every piece of articulation it touches. It could be a lot worse, certainly, but it's going to affect how well they hold the poses when they're wearing something like this. It wants to bounce back. And you know what? When you buy these figures, you kind of take for granted that that could be something that you're dealing with. And in this case, that is what we are dealing with. So he does have articulation up there and waist articulation. He is fairly bendy, but the rubber tunic will definitely impede how well he holds that pose. However, these pauldrons being a soft rubber, it means that his arms can go up fairly well. And these don't really get in the way that much. It's more of I've hit the limit of what they can do until I decide I want to move his arms up around that way. You can see that they're attached by way of a little ball peg right inside of there. There's a little butterfly. Oh, these are really, really tight as well, which is good. That means he's going to hold his poses. Of course, there's a rounded hinge in there. He's got a bicep swivel. He's got double jointed elbows. He's got a great big rounded hinge in the wrist. He's also got down here in the groin, he's got the big, huge rounded hinges. There is what you would consider swivel up here, as well as nice double jointed knees that crunch up way more than I could have ever thought they would. Does he have ankle articulation? Yeah, it's in there, definitely, but as you can tell, that armor is going to be a little, okay, never mind, that's not as bad as I thought it was going to be. That does move around quite a bit in there. And then, of course, the toe articulation with the weird bird claw talons. And finally, let's not forget that not only is his head on a ball joint, as you would expect, because it's an interchangeable head, but there's also articulation in here. Not sure if you can see that, but the whole thing is moving back and forth on the inside of there. So that's pretty good. I can have him look down like that, like he's getting strangled by his armor, or I can have him, oh goodness me. Wow, that's actually really good. Now for the comparisons, the only ones I'm going to do is this one with him next to the other Storm Collectibles Injustice figures. You can see that he holds his own as far as size. They're not all the same, and we don't want them to be, so good job. And then I figured I would also bring in the SH Figuarts Superman and Batman from the Injustice game, just so you can get an idea of how much smaller they are than this guy. Considering Ares is often depicted as being just gargantuan, you could probably actually get away with having Superman versus Ares in your action figure photography, especially playing with perspective and have it look pretty good. Anyway, what do I think about this figure? Do I like it? Do I think it was worth my time and effort and funds to track down? Or do I feel like I paid too much? Is it a waste of my time? Is it gonna look like a dog turd in a helmet on my shelf? Yes, I think it was worth my time. No, I don't think I paid too much. And no, I certainly don't think it's gonna look like a dog turd in a helmet. I'm actually really satisfied with this guy, as I knew I would be. That's why I collect the Storm Collectibles Injustice figures, because they just do a really, really good job with their portion of the DC license. Todd can do his thing, Mafex can do theirs, Mezco can also make their figures. Let's Storm Collectibles keep rocking the Injustice characters, because they are doing a badass job. The only thing that I would change about this, as mentioned before, is the cape. The cape kind of stinks. But anyway, that's my story and I'm sticking to it. Hopefully you found this video to be an interesting, useful, insightful waste of time. If you did, you know where the buttons are that do all the stuff, and I will see you with the next one. Have a DC day, everybody, and take care of yourself.